that Albert Einstein had rightly said, creativity is intelligence having fun. And don't you think we have all begun to appreciate and value the creative fun of handmade skill more than before, be it any craft or writing? I feel in many ways our cultural heritage is linked to its traditional forms of craftsmanship. So this evening we have with us the craft-driven family, Muzaffar Ali ji, Meera and Ali of the House of Kolkata, along with a passionate writer who had also been a popular editor of Femina over 12 years, Satya Saran. Having been awarded the Padma Shri, Muzaffar Ali ji, Raja of Kolkata, wears many hats as a painter, filmmaker, designer, poet, artist, cultural revivalist and social worker. To know all the above, we are going to unfold a unique way of storytelling conceptualized and written by Satya Saran. The idea is to recreate the iconic moments that shaped Muzaffar ji's life. We shall also be viewing an outstanding collection put together by the House of Kolkata's talented mother-daughter duo, the well-known Meera Ali and Sama Ali. They always have passionately and creatively experimented with the Avdi craft of chicken embroidery in their trendy, classic and bridal clothing line. Sama Ali, their daughter, is the creative director of the brand and a London College of Fashion alumni. Well, who does not know the Puramal Rajmal Surana for their art and jewelry? Their unique fusion of heritage and inspiring traditional and contemporary jewelry will be seen paired with the collection from the House of Kolkata. The legacy of creating this art by Padma Shri late Prakash Chandra Surana is being carried forward by the diligent Mr. Chandra Surana, his son Prashant Surana and daughter Urvashi Surana Shaw. Muzaffar ji, you have beautifully said, Lucknow makes a person tender at heart. On that note, let's enjoy the evening together. Thank you.
So we are in here today to leave Calcutta, little Calcutta. We take it with us. And we are entering a very different world where you have music and romance and suspense and beauty and art and craft. Now whether it's a poet or a writer or a painter, any artist has the knack of presenting his art after distilling it through his own experiences. Where a person is born, when he is born, is very important. because the impact the surroundings, the world events have on the people who influence a growing mind makes a lot of difference on how that growing mind is shaped. Muzaffar Ali here is the sum total of such influences. And for him, whatever he has lived through in his early years have been a record of new memories that remain imprinted in his mind. Memories which, when he opens his mind to look at them, like a bottle of suddenly opened perfume, forms beautiful and arresting images. What are these memories? Where are they formed from? To begin with, there was Kolkata, and then there was Lucknow. And stories of both these handed down to him, of a wonderful culture that welded in past, present, in very inscrutable and bewildering, arresting ways. There were stories of the Sepoy mutiny that he heard and how it affected his people. And then there were stories of partition and the anguish that racked through even his Lucknow, where the fabric was trying to be torn on religious lines. All this made a deep impact on him. And if you look at his work today, or the man who sits before you, three strands of thought form the basis of his creative work and his thinking. One is an intense love of color. Another is the desire to keep alive the tradition of Lucknow. And the third is music. We're going to have all three today. But just before we start, let me take you to two little images that are dear to him and are evocative to us. One is a young Muzaffar wandering through the Zanana, watching an entourage of women sitting with his mother, working their needles magically to create little squares of embroidery, stars on cloth. It was an image which never left him. And the second was when the Muharram would come around and the mood of Muharram would descend on Lucknow, on Kotwara, on entire colonies. And the songs of Muharram, the sounds of Muharram, and the procession that wended its way through the little narrow streets, the colors of Muharram, they would all translate themselves. Evocative colors, maroon and black, they translated themselves into your painting, Muzaffar, and into your first film, Gaman. Tell us a little bit about Gaman.
एक शेर है, सिर्फ एक कदम उठाकर गलत राहे शौक में मंजिल तमाम उम्र हमें ढूंढती रही। अगर हम शायद गमन ना बनाते तो हम कुछ ना बना पाते। ये चीज़ मुझे रह रहे कि इसका ख्याल आता रहता है। और गमन क्या है? गमन बुनियादी तौर पे अपनी ज़मीन से अलग होना, अपने माहौल से, अपने माशरे से छूट के एक नए माशरे में आना, और वहाँ किस तरीके की ज़िंदगी आदमी बसर करता है। तो हमारा पहला गमन जो था वो कलकत्ते ही को हुआ। हम कलकत्ते में आके हमने यहाँ काम शुरू किया अलीगढ़ से, और उसके बाद कलकत्ते में कलकत्ता एक बड़ी नायाब जगह है। मैं बिल्कुल बेकार आदमी, कुछ नहीं था मेरे पास, और मुझे कलकत्ते ने इतनी इज्जत दी कि मैं आपको बयान नहीं कर सकता हूँ। ये ख़ास बात है कलकत्ते की। अगर कलकत्ते में आपके पास कुछ भी है तो आपको उसका कहीं गुना आपको उसका वो मिलेगा मुआवजा। तो ये मुझे लगा कलकत्ते में रह के, और यहाँ के जो शायर थे, यहाँ के जो फिल्म मेकर्स थे, यहाँ का जो माहौल था, उसने मुझे एक तरीके से एक दरीचा खुला है फ़न की तरफ, कला की तरफ। और वही खुला हुआ दरीचा, खुला हुआ दिमाग लेके मैं पहुंचा बम्बई। और बम्बई में मैं एयर इंडिया में काम करता था। यहाँ मैं एडवर्टाइजिंग में था, कैरन मैकैन में। मेरे साथी वरुण चंदा बैठे हैं यहाँ साथ में। तो एयर इंडिया जब मैं पहुंचा तो वहाँ भी एक अलग दुनिया थी, एक नायाब दुनिया थी। उस वक्त मुझे लगता है एयर इंडिया से बड़ी कोई हिंदुस्तान में कॉर्पोरेट एंटिटी नहीं थी, और मुझे एक अच्छी खासी जिम्मेदारी और क्रिएटिव जगह मिली। लेकिन उसके साथ साथ मैं जो एक गरम और पीली टैक्सी की छत के नीचे एक आदमी जो पहिया घुमा रहा था अपना, उसके दिल में क्या धड़कन थी उसका मुझे एक एहसास होता रहा। जो एहसास मैं कलकत्ते से लेके गया था, जो एहसास मुझे हर बार लखनऊ आने जाने पे महसूस होता था, तो वो जो जुदाई थी ज़मीन से और अपने माहौल से, अपने करीब के लोगों से, तो वो उसमें उसका एक कर्ब और दर्द था। गमन was like a poem of the dispossessed. It was I mean, for me, I was not a poet, but I could only create visual imagery which could vaguely sound like poetry. And I had come from a world of poetry, which was Lucknow and then Aligarh. Aligarh was a thought-provoking सेंटर फॉर पोइट्री, जिसमें से बहुत से लोगों से, शायरों से मुलाकात हुई। इनकी शायरी से गमन भी बनी। सीने में जलन, आँखों में तूफान सा क्यों है, इस शहर में हर शख्स परेशान सा क्यों है, और दिल है तो धड़कने का बहाना कोई ढूंढे, पत्थर की तरह बेहिस्सो बेजान सा क्यों है। तो ये जो मामले थे दिल के और दिमाग के, वो कैसे फ़न से जुड़ते हैं, और फ़न जो है वो किस तरीके से इंसानियत को छूता है, ये मुझे कलकत्ते और बम्बई जाके रहने और महसूस करने से इसका दर्द जो था वो दुबाला हुआ। और गमन को उसमें जाहिर है ऐसी सब बातें थी जो आपने अगर देखी होगी तो शायद आपको उनका एहसास हो गया। अभी जब कोविड हुआ तो जो वहाँ से लोग लौटे हैं, तो मीडिया ने गमन की तस्वीर उसके साथ जोड़ी।
It's still relevant today, Gaman, because it does talk about the pain of the migrant worker who lives far from his loved ones and is trying to earn enough money to send back home, swallowing his own suffering, his own loneliness. And it spoke about the pain of the woman left behind. Smita Patil played that role with such evocative tenderness that, it's unforgettable. And I think it resulted, this NFDC, modest film, resulted in you're getting the special Silver Peacock at the Delhi International Film Festival. And Filmfare gave it the Best Music Award, it gave it the Best Directors Award. So we all knew, I mean, I don't know whether we knew, you and I, but I think, Muzaffar, you knew that you had arrived as a director, right?
Well, one never arrives.
A little clip from Gaman. But even as he was savoring the success of Gaman, modest though it was, Muzaffar had already decided that Lucknow would again be the heroine of his next film. And we all know which film that was. Yeah, I can hear the mama in the hall. So, Umrao Jan. The story of Umrao Janada had been written earlier, and it had kind of enchanted. It was supposed to be the memoir of a courtesan who was beautiful, talented, and terribly unlucky, ill-fated, never found love, was deceived by everyone who loved her, whom she loved, and who thought they loved her. And the tragedy of it had enchanted an entire generation. Muzaffar also fell victim to that tragedy, tragic magnetism of Umrao Jan. There is a lot of conjecture whether the story is real, whether the memoirs were really received by the author who wrote the book, or whether he had just created a very beautiful myth. But Muzaffar felt, whether it's real or whether it's fantasy, there is enough in this story for me to create my brand of magic. So tell us, Muzaffar, what was it that made you create Umrao Jan the way you did? And also tell us why and how you found your heroine. There's a lovely story there.
गाह रोती हुई गाह हंसती हुई मेरी आंखें हैं अफसाना था दोस्तों। तो आंखें जो हैं वो पूरी दास्तान बयान करती हैं। और जब मैंने उमराव जान पढ़ी तो मेरे दिमाग में सिर्फ उस बच्ची की और फिर बड़े होके उस शख्स की आंखें जो थी वो पूरी कहानी सुना रही थी। मुझे ये नहीं लग रहा था मैं किताब पढ़ रहा हूँ, मुझे लग रहा था कि मैं कुछ देख रहा हूँ, और वो देख रहा हूँ जो मैंने देखा है, और वो देख रहा हूँ जो मैं दिखाना चाहता हूँ। और उसको दिखाने के लिए एक बहुत ही जिसे कहना चाहिए नर्म और गुदाज कहते हैं नर्म को, दिल चाहिए, क्योंकि बग़ैर उस गुदाजी कल्ब या दिल के। और उमराव जान जो थी वो एक कहानी एक बच्ची थी जो धीरे धीरे करके फनकारा बनती है, रक्कासा बनती है, मुतरिब बनती है। तो एक उसका जो एवोल्यूशन था मेरे जैसे ऑथर ने लिखी तो मैं भी उसका फिर ऑथर ही एक तरीके से का लिबास मुझे पहनना पड़ा. It's okay, I'm talking in Urdu. I can talk in English also. So, I mean, I began to empathize with that very vulnerable character, which was Meera. And through this empathy, I found poetry coming to my rescue. I found Lucknow coming to my rescue. Because if it was not from Lucknow, there would be no Raja. Because you have to have gone through mornings, evening, nights, winters, rain to understand a person in a place. So for me, a person in a place and a place in a person are very, very vital to cinema, to art. And that is what began to drive me. And out of that, a new kind of poetry started taking place to create that very sensitive trajectory of this young vulnerable girl who becomes a courtesan. तो उसकी पूरी शायरी जो है वो एक तरीके से देखिए तो एक मासूमियत से शुरू होती है, एक दिमाग के खुलने से शुरू होती है, फिर उसके अंदर एक कॉन्फिडेंस पैदा होता है. इन आँखों की मस्ती के मस्ताने हज़ारों हैं, इस शम्मे फ़रोज़ा को आँखों से आंधी से डराते हो, इस शम्मे फ़रोज़ा के परवाने हज़ारों हैं. या कहिए तो आसमां को ज़मीन पर उतारना है, मुश्किल नहीं है कुछ भी अगर ठान लीजिए. तो ये उसकी एक इब्तिदा की एक जो उसका आगाज़ था, जो उसकी जवानी थी, जैसे everybody has this very positive charge, and then how that charge begins to, I wouldn't say dwindle, when it faces reality, it begins to actually get more beautiful, more subdued, and it goes more into other people's soul. जुस्तजू जिसकी थी उसको तो न पाया हमने, इस बहाने से मगर ढूंढ ली दुनिया हमने, देख ली दुनिया हमने. तो बहरहाल ये एक coming from Lucknow, coming from studied in Aligarh, for me this music and poetry became very important, what shall I say, tools of experiencing cinema, experiencing places, and experiencing cultures. And that is what Umraujan became. So we had to find an Umraujan, the real Umraujan. It was difficult, and then it was not difficult because when I saw a picture of Rekha somewhere in a magazine, I saw that these eyes are the eyes of somebody जो गिर के, उठ के, संभल के, खड़ा होके फिर से जिंदगी का मुकाबला करता है. So that is what I found in this journey, in this quest. And when Rekha के पास हम जब गए, when I mean I was a bit scared कि पता नहीं इनको क्या समझ में आया. ये सब चीज़ें जो आप कास्टिंग के लिए जाएंगे तो इससे फिर लगता है आप अपने ही इम्तिहान देने गए. मैंने कहा पता नहीं अगर फेल हो गए तो क्या होगा, फिर ढूंढना पड़ेगा. तो मुझे लगता है ज़्यादा उसको सुनाने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ी कैरेक्टर को. अरे वो इतनी ज़हीन लड़की थी कि उसने फ़ौरन सुन लिया कि इसमें मेरे लिए है ज़िंदगी भर का सामान है. So anyway, it was easy, and then she just dived in. I don't think people dive into roles like this. मुझे नहीं मिलेगा कोई ऐसा रोल के अंदर इस गहराई से और उतरने वाला. ये बहुत बड़ी बात होती है एक्टर्स के लिए, जो रोल के अंदर उतरना इज नॉट अ जोक. जो उतर गया तो वो ये पार हो गया, फिर जो डूब गया वो पार हो गया. तो ये मामला था उसके साथ. और फिर उसके बाद आप ही समझिए जो भी उसमें आया दरिया में वो सब डूबे और सब पार हो गए. इवन आशा भोसले उसे कहनी मुझे तो तुम्हें किताब पढ़ के सुनाना पड़ेगी। कई दिन गया मैंने किताब पढ़ के सुनाई, फिर कहा कि कलाम सुनाइए, फिर कहने खयाम साहब को बताना मुझे गा के सुनाओ। मैंने कहा मुझे गाना आता नहीं, मैं खयाम साहब से कहूँ। बहरहाल आई मीन दैट वाज अगेन अ जर्नी which created a new world, and उसमें everything, I mean, layer by layer this character came across, which I think has become everybody's experience.
So you actually found Umrao Jan in Rekha's eyes.
Yeah.
Well, with Umrao Jan, Muzaffar Ali became a household name, as well as the songs, as well as Rekha's dances. It was Muzaffar Ali everybody remembered as the creator of Umrao Jan. In fact, now he realized that this is where his future lay in cinema, in making beautiful art, beautiful images. So when Air India asked him, do you want to continue your job or you want to follow your passion? There was no second thought. He said, of course, my passion. And his passion was already engaged. He was thinking of Lucknow yet again and thinking of his next film. And we're going to talk now about a very beautiful film called Anjuman, which talked about the evolution of chikankari as a cooperative movement in Lucknow. And there were many firsts in this film, in fact. I will have Muzaffar tell you about it himself, but I'm so excited. When I watched the film, I realized there were two big things that he had done. He had used people from the village of Kotwara as his extras, looking for interesting faces, looking for faces with character. And it was not something that was a one-film wonder. In film after film, he would do that. He would use these people in different ways. And the second thing, I don't know if any of you know this, but he made a singer out of Shavana. She sang all the songs in Anjuman. So tell us a little bit more about this wonderful film, Muzaffar.
Art, or the way to find your next step in art, is always through human pain. It's always through imbalances that you see around you. My anguish came from my city, Lucknow. दर्द की अंजुमन जो मेरा देश है, जर पत्तों का बन जो मेरा देश है. तो मुझे लखनऊ में एक अजीब सी हुक, एक कशिश के साथ साथ एक दर्द महसूस होता था. और भी होता जब जाता हूँ, असल में जब तक until you belong to some place, you don't feel the pain. Go to a new place, you just see the good things and for a short while. But when you belong there, then you go into a lot of reasons as to why things are not what they should be. This was the big question. And my mother had passed away, and I found that the women folk, and chicken was their mainstay. There were hundreds of thousands, and how they were eking out an existence out of that thread and needle. And Umrao Jan had opened a new world of craft, a new world of beauty, a new world of femininity. So I wanted to use those openings that had dawned on me during Umrao Jan and to take it to the grassroots level of Lucknow, the crumbling Lucknow, the decaying beauty of Lucknow. So I equated the architecture and the language with the decadence of the craft. And I think that was a very rich experience to weave faces which had stories on them written, and to create characters larger than life, scripted by no less a person than Dr. Rahim Asum Raza. I mean, he wrote the dialogues. He said, कि देखो मैं लखनऊ का नहीं हूँ, मेरी ज़बान यूपी के कहीं और की है, ये तुम्हारे लोग हैं, तुम इनसे बुलवाओ, मैं तो सिर्फ मज़ा लूँगा. और जो उन्होंने कहानियों, कैरेक्टर्स को जो मज़ा दिया है, I think film has a lot of these nuances of metaphors and similes and imagery and what the human being can bring to the screen. So that I found in great measure, because the poetry was there, and the poetry was opening up the landscape of, the barren landscape of of destitution of the city and devastation which had successively been.
There was a lot of fairs also.
But I used a poem by Faiz also. Most of the poetry was of Shahriyar, but the poem by Faiz was कब हाथ में तेरा हाथ नहीं, कब याद में तेरा साथ नहीं, सद शुक्र के अब इन रातों में, अब हिज्र की कोई रात नहीं. Anjuman mean coming together, congregation. So this was the coming together of these craftswomen, you know. इनकी यूनिटी तोड़ रहे थे लोग, just to bring their wages down. जिस धज से कोई मख्तल में गया, मख्तल मीन बैटलफील्ड, वो शान सलामत रहती है. ये जान तो आनी जानी है, इस जान की तो कोई बात नहीं. ये बाजी इश्क की बाजी है, जो चाहो लगा दो डर कैसा, अगर जीत गए तो क्या कहना, हारे भी तो बाजी मात नहीं. बहरहाल शायरी जो है वो तो देखिए मिट्टी से निकलती है, और ये मत समझिए कि मिट्टी में मिल जाती है. वो मिट्टी से उठ के आपके आँखों पे गुबार बनाती है, और वो गुबार धीरे धीरे करके आपके दिलों के अंदर उतर जाता है. तो जिस शख्स का दिल वो लेने के लिए तैयार है, मैं समझता हूँ उससे ज़्यादा खुशकिस्मत कोई शख्स दुनिया में नहीं हो सकता है. जो who is ready to take the dust through the eyes and take it into their heart, the dust of human anguish, you know? And that is what I think Anjuman was all about. And again, like Gaman, if I hadn't made Anjuman, I wouldn't be what I am. तो मुझे लगता है हर कदम पे, हर मंजिल जो थी, जो कुछ मेरे रास्ते में आया, उससे मैं एक जिसे कहना चाहिए एक दर्दमंद आदमी बनता गया. कामयाब तो नहीं कहूँगा अपने को, लेकिन अपने दिल में, अपने दिमाग में, अपनी रूह में मुझे बहुत कुछ नज़र आने लगा. और मुझे लगता है शायद और लोगों को भी कुछ न कुछ उसमें मिला हो, नज़र आया.
आपसे एक सवाल पूछूं मैं, जो ऑडियंस पूछना चाह रही है, कि हाउ वाज इट, हाउ डिफिकल्ट वाज इट टू मेक शबाना सिंग?
खयाम साहब हमारे मतलब ही वाज माय कंपोजर. तो खयाम साहब ने जब ये तर्ज बनाई, मैं राह कब से नई ज़िंदगी की तकती हूँ, हर एक कदम पे, हर एक मोड़ पे समझती हूँ. तो वो जब वो गुनगुना रहे थे, तो हमने I had called Shabana for the rehearsal. तो with him she started humming also. और मुझे लगा कि ये आमतौर से लोग जो प्लेबैक सिंगर्स लेते हैं ना, they are a bit not the same as the actor, you know. अगर जब एक्टर गाएगा तो जाहिर है वो एक अजीब सी रियलिटी, एक अजीब सा रेजोनेंस उसमें आएगा. तो she was humming that and I said, यादा ये तो सुना आपने? तो फिर हमने उनसे कहा ज़रा इसको इस तर्ज को आप गुनगुनाइए. तो when she sang, it was like a real person singing the song, you know. तो मैंने कहा, I mean it was a bit of a risk. कोई आमतौर से ये रिस्क लेता नहीं है कि well, I've been introducing a lot of new singers from Hariharan, Muzaffar Ali, Chaya Ganguly और सुरेश वाकटर वगैरह. So for me to take that risk was was not difficult, because this was not going to be a very big commercial film anyway. It was a film that was going to stay in people's hearts and minds. तो जब शबाना ने गाया तो आप it was really good. I think मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है.
And if I'm not wrong, there was also the mother-daughter team in the film. तो
हाँ.
उसके बारे में कुछ बताइए ना.
Actually, Shabana's mother, Shaukat Kaifi, she's always been my favorite actress. वो ऐसा उतरती हैं और इतना वो नर्वस हो जाती हैं, इतना सबको नर्वस कर देती हैं कि it's not easy. तो वो राजा में तो देखा आपने, फिर अंजुमन में मैंने एक लेडी हमारे घर आया करती थी, उनका नाम था नूर चश्म चुईया, तो चुईया बेगम कहलाती थी। तो हमने कहा, एंड शी यूज्ड टू डू ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ इनोवेटिव थिंग्स एंड शी वाज अ बिट ऑफ अ काइंड ऑफ अ एंटरप्रेन्योर ऑफ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ। वो सड़क पे गाती हुई चलती थी, बुरखा अजीब सा पहनती थी, बाटा के शूज़ पहनती थी, और सिगरेट की पैकेट को उठा के उनको उल्टा करके वो होम्योपैथिक ऑइंटमेंट बनाने का वो बनाती थी। तो ऐसे के एक कैरेक्टर, इम्पोर्टेंट कैरेक्टर जो चिकन का काम लाता है महाजन से, उनको के पास लेके जाता है कारीगर का काम, तो वाई डजंट शी प्ले चुईया बेगम? तो शी डिड दैट चुईया बेगम रोल इन सच अ वे कि मैं, आई मीन बिटवीन, इट वाज एन अमेजिंग थिंग, शी ब्रॉट so much credibility and life to that role. कैदी साहब के लिए अगर मैंने देख लिया तो शौकत को चुईया बेगम के रोल में, तो मैं इनसे शादी नहीं करता। तो हमने कहा अब तो हो चुकी है। फिर उस तरीके के मैंने एक और जूनी में भी उनको एक जूनी की सास का रोल दिया था। She could, you know, but the thing was that you had to create a humorous ecosystem around her. तो हमारा जो पूरा एक इनर सर्कल होता है वो इट इज जस्ट बेस्ड ऑन प्योर ह्यूमर। उसमें कैमरामैन होता है, जो एक्टर होते हैं, वो लोग होते हैं, असिस्टेंट होते हैं, तो वो वी हैव टू हैव दिस ह्यूमर फीलिंग। मतलब बाहर हो जाता है लोग काम करने वाले, तो शौकत आप ये होगा जो इज nephew, my cameraman Shah, he is brilliant and he got himself to death. तो ईशान और शौकत आपा और एक यूनुस अली जो उसमें यूनल का रोल करते हैं, एंड इश्तियाक खान है, उनको हम लोगों ने इतनी जोक्स की तरह बनाया कि it kept शौकत आपा with the tension of having to do the role, having to remember the lines. I think it's very tough to become somebody else.
ज़मीन चाँद से बेहतर नजर आती है हमें। सुख फूलों से महक उठती है दिल की राहें, दिन ढले यूं तेरी आवाज़ बुलाती है हमें। बज़्म में लाती है हमें, ये ज़मीन चाँद से बेहतर नजर आती है हमें। जिंदगी जब भी तेरी बज़्म में लाती है हमें। सरगोशी से रात के पिछले पहर रोज जगाती है हमें। जुदाई क्यों है? अब तो हर वक्त यही बात सताती है हमें। कभी सरगोशी से रात के पिछले पहर रोज जगाती है हमें। का अंजाम जुदाई क्यों है? अब तो हर वक्त यही बात सताती है हमें। immortal in the land of the beloveds. Such merciful act has immortalized you. For on the day of judgment, you will be shamed before your lovers. Stranglehold of the two worlds if you become my companion.
What an amazing show. Can we have a big round of applause again for the artists, please? Thank you so much. In आंखों की मस्ती के मस्ताने हजारों हैं, a powerful expression of Rekha's eyes from Umrao John, immortalized by Muzaffar Ali Saab, is timeless. On behalf of the Ladies Study Group, I am pleased to extend our sincere thanks to our special guest, Mr. Muzaffar Ali, a man of all arts. Thank you for giving us a glimpse of your journey and for reviving the traditional Indian craft and embroidery techniques from all over India. I had written Awadh, but I am saying all over India after seeing your presentation, for keeping it alive. The House of Kutwara, founded by him and his wife, has always epitomized style and elegance. Thank you, Meera Ali and Sama Ali, for a mesmerizing fashion show and such a stunning collection. My sincere thanks to Satya Saran for an informative and enriching conversation. We thank Shinjini Kulkarni for a beautiful Kathak performance. You were truly taking forward the legacy of your grandfather and contributing to our life. A big thank you to our sponsors, Muzaffar Ali, Surana Jewelry, for associating with us and providing gorgeous jewelry for the models. We would like to thank Pinky Kenworthy for the choreography, all the models who walk the ramps so elegantly, and the students of MIT for helping us making this show as well as the dancers. We thank our hospitality partner, ITC Royal Bengal, for their wonderful arrangements. It is always a pleasure working with Mr. Gaurav Saneja, General Manager, and his entire team. We thank our friends from media present here today from Telegraph, T2, Anand Bazar Patrika, Sanmad for their continuous coverage and support. I would now like to request Meera Ali, Sama Ali, and Sucheta ji to please join us on stage. Requesting Mrs. Paru Sarup and Mrs. Madhu Nevedia, LSG governing body members, to join us on stage to give a token of our appreciation to the esteemed guests. Thank you so much. That was a fabulous show. May I request Chandra Surana ji and Urvashi Shaw to please join us on stage. Thank you everyone for joining us today. इस अंजुमन में आपको आना है बार-बार. Friends, look forward to seeing you again for our next event soon. Have a great evening.